afternoon. It's a balmy 11 degrees here. Can't complain. I'm wearing my painting hat today, so really that can only mean one thing. Yeah, today is the day. I've been avoiding this project for way too long. 6 years too long, as a matter of fact. Today is the day painting the ugly yellow RV shower. So this is something that happens in, I believe, all old RVs. This plastic turns yellow, and apparently that's from sun exposure or heat exposure. So in the 6 years that I've lived in this camper, I just never got around to finally covering it up and turning it white again until today. Honestly, it just hasn't been a priority. Usually there's a shower curtain here and it covers it up anyway. But I decided, since the weather is becoming so nice and I will soon be de-winterizing, that I'd like to just get it done. And I don't have to worry about it anymore. Also, it's very dry because, you know, it hasn't been showered in for at least 4 months now. So my original plan was to just go ahead and paint all this white, and that was it. That's all I was going to do. But I decided if I'm painting the shower white and it's going to be nice and bright and pretty, I really need to get a new faucet, because I can't be having this old ugly faucet from 1994 looks like it's from 1954. Then I decided, you know, if the shower's going to have a new faucet, I have to get a new faucet for the sink because this one's twice as ugly. Then it just kind of turned into, I'm just going to do the whole bathroom, I guess. I'm not going to paint the walls because I did that, I think, like a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago. However, I am going to prime this behind me, the medicine cabinet, also this down here, and paint that. The toilet's removed. The toilet was removed a long time ago. There's just usually a compost toilet here, but I had to take pretty much everything out of the bathroom except for a few things. So yeah, let's get started with this. It's going to be like a multi-day project because I'm not going to be able to do it all in one day, but I'm going to get started by sanding down the shower, and then I'm going to TSP it, clean it all up, and then I'm going to prime it with an oil-based primer. I'm not just going to go ahead and paint this because it's not going to stick. If you're going to do this, I would suggest using an oil-based primer first. Obviously, first things first, I'm going to need to remove all the hardware. Gonna have to take down my tankless water heater. And yes, it is an outdoor unit, and I understand that. But I have a vent above me which I open, I turn on the fan, I have carbon monoxide detectors. It works for me. I'm not saying everybody should do it, it works for me. So all of the hardware has been removed except for this, which I'll get at in a second. When my dad and I put my tankless water heater in here, we put these little screw anchors in. I'm just going to leave those, prime and paint around them. Alright, secret little door here has been removed. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get those off, but I'll find out in a second. Don't yell at me if I'm not supposed to be using an adjustable wrench for this, but oh, it's dripping water. Oh no, you know what it's dripping? Antifreeze. Shit. Dripped a little. Oh my goodness. Fair amount of antifreeze actually, but that's okay because I put a little towel down in there if you can see it. This one, yeah, really I just need the adjustable wrench to get started with these. There we go. You served me and the people before me well, but it's time to retire. Good night. Anyway, all the hardware has been removed. Next we're going to go ahead and get to sanding. Not sure if it makes a huge difference, but I just wanted to rough up the surface a little bit, so maybe the primer would stick a little bit better. Oh shoot, I forgot I used 3M tape on this. These were just shelves that I added just for more space to put things. I don't know if I'm going to prime and paint inside of here or not. I want to remove these because there's already a lip here and I really don't want to have to paint around these. I don't. So I think they're just stapled in here. Kind of looking like it. Better for sure. Oops, there we go. Yeah, I'm even taking off the door because priming and painting that too. Got the cupboard doors off, got the actual bathroom door off. Planning on taking this mirror off too if I can get it to come off. Not really sure how it's on there, maybe just stapled. Okay, a lot has happened, yet not a lot has happened. It is sometime after supper, it's soon coming on dark, and I didn't even get to priming yet. I removed the washroom door, as you can see behind me, and I took it outside. I was trying to get the mirror off the outside. Turns out it was stuck on there with like some 3M tape. And as I was trying to pull it forward to see what was going on and behind it, the mirror shattered in like a million pieces. As it was shattering, my hand kind of came up and my finger got caught on like some jagged edge of the glass. And it didn't cut it deep, it just would not stop bleeding. Renos are slightly dangerous. Good morning. Today is day 2 of this bathroom makeover. Yesterday I did not get as much done as I would have liked. My plan for yesterday was to at least get everything primed, and unfortunately I didn't even get the priming started. But we're up bright and early trying to get this going today. First thing I need to do, I'm just warming up some water to mix with some TSP. That just prepares surfaces for painting. Once that's done, I'm going to start cutting in with the primer, and then once everything's cut in, I'm going to start rolling with the primer. Oh my god, this is like chunky. By the way, this is like the odorless oil-based primer. Because the other stuff is super strong smelling. You probably would not want it in your RV. Alright, I'm just gonna start cutting in here. I was gonna start with the shower. I'm deciding to start with this here. Because I'd like to get this primed and painted and get all my stuff back in the bathroom. So I'll cut back in with you guys in a little bit. Things are slowly coming along. I've cut in every place that I can cut in, and then I'm gonna roll, of course, but then I remembered I have to also do the doors that go over here and the medicine cabinet door. That moment when you feel like you're getting so close to being done, and then you remember you have to do a second coat. that's going to work. Welcome back. We are on day 3 of this bathroom makeover. As you can see, got the medicine cabinet door back on, the door down here back on. So that's all been painted, primed and painted, I should have said. But yeah, I already went ahead and cleaned the shower with TSP. I know I did it before, but that was several days ago and I never got around to priming and painting it then, so I can get it all primed at a decent time. It is fast drying primer, so I might be able to get the first coat of marine paint on everything. Not sure. We'll see how the day goes. So I ended up having to cut a piece of plywood. I just happened to have a thin piece of plywood out in the shed, thankfully. But there was an access panel right here. Just kind of screw it in under the tub here, and I removed it really out of curiosity, but the first thing I noticed was that the screws along this side were rusty, and that's because sometimes when you're in the shower, sometimes water will come down here and it'll pool in the corner of the bathroom. So when I took the old panel off, I noticed that there was some black mold at the bottom corner because of the water coming down and pooling here. I will probably be priming this as well and painting this also with the white marine paint, maybe, I'm thinking. Pro tip, if you want to reuse your oil paint brush or oil primer brush, go ahead and stick them in the freezer in a bag, because yeah, now I can reuse it. Oh my goodness. So I think I've got every place cut in that I need to cut in, and this is honestly the part that takes the longest, because there are so many little pop-outs with ridges. There's no way I'd get around that with a roller. Anyway, I just cut in everywhere possible that I thought I would need to. Now I can get started on rolling the primer on. Okay, the rolling is done, so that makes the entire shower completely primed. It did kind of seem like the plastic down here in the tub is a different type than this here. I don't know, maybe it's fiberglass, I don't know. But it just seemed like a different type of plastic down around the corners of the tub than this here. I'm gonna let that dry good, like for a few hours. Even though it's fast drying, I'm gonna make sure that it is completely dry, because I don't want it to not be dry and then go ahead and paint over top of it. Wow, it is a nice break from the yellow, I gotta say. That's gonna look good when it's painted white. Whew, it's a beauty. Running the diesel heater just to keep it nice and warm in there. Sun's out, so that's already kind of doing a lot of the work for me. A lot of this project is standing around waiting for paint to dry or primer to dry before you can go on with another coat. Honestly, I think that's what is taking the longest with everything. It's just waiting for paint to dry. I have some concerns. I don't know if you remember, but earlier I had mentioned that it seemed like this type of material was different than the shower pan material. And I would say that that is 100% the case, because you might be able to see like a shiny ridge along the bottom of the tub pan. That is still wet, so the primer for some reason is not drying there. It's dry to the touch everywhere else. It dried really fast. It's still pretty wet in here. I don't know if I need to go get a hair dryer maybe and see if that helps. Yeah, that's not good, because I'm going to need the marine paint to stick to this primer, so if it doesn't dry, we're in trouble. I think it's working! Alright, so the hair dryer seemed to help. Honestly, I think I was just being impatient. But it's less shiny now, so I'm still going to give it a few hours to dry. I forgot to mention before, and I apologize for the lighting, but if you can see this little strip down here, I actually ended up getting a crack in my tub there. And I went ahead and put some Gorilla silicone, like a clear caulking, down over the crack. And I just went ahead and primed right over it. Yeah, hopefully I don't have any issues with that. But it does look kind of like you can see that thicker strip there. That's what that is. I was just going to seal up that crack because obviously you don't want water leaking down through. Okay, we're about to do the first coat of this. I chose to do Beauty Tone Marine Paint. It is white color. I'm just assuming that if you can put it on boats, you should be able to put it in your shower. So let's get started. The lighting in here is really bad, so I'm holding up a light to help visibility. The first coat of cutting in the marine paint is done, so I still have to roll. And if you're wondering what that brown spot is, that was my foot. Yes, it's that dirty. Anyway, I need to roll in the rest, and then the first coat is officially done, and hopefully I can get started on the second coat tomorrow. All right, we are coat number 1 of the marine paint. Again, sorry about the lighting. I'm holding a light up so you can see better because that's kind of what I had to do while I was painting. It's 7:30 at night. It's getting dark outside. Therefore, it's kind of getting dark in here, but gives you an idea. Definitely brightens it up. No longer yellow, so that's nice. Anyway, let that dry for the night, and tomorrow get started on coat number 2. Okay, welcome to day 4. Just waking up in the morning, and the first coat of paint feels completely dry until you touch what is in the shower pan. That is still wet, and I have a feeling that is happening because the tub is pretty much close to sitting on the floor. There is some insulation underneath of it, but I think just because it doesn't get warm enough down here, and it's, you know, and like it's inset, so I think the temperature just doesn't get warm enough for it to dry down there. I kind of thought it was because it was a different plastic material or a different type of material. I don't know. I think it's honestly the temperature. So because I have this access panel open, I think I'm just going to set the buddy heater down here and have some heat going this way, and hopefully that helps dry this. I really wanted to get this second coat on early, but if that paint in the pan down here isn't even dry yet, I can't exactly do that. I'm also doing this in March, and it did get to about freezing last night, so yeah, just not doing it at the warmest time of year. Well, I'm just kind of testing this out. Get the access panel open, hoping that some of that heat will go in there and dry the tub. Another problem with paint is that it can't be too cold and it can't be too warm, or it's just not going to dry. The temperature kind of has to be just right. Well, while we wait for paint to dry, which seems to be a lot of what this project is, I'll show you my next issue. I bought a new doorknob for the washroom door. Obviously this washroom door is just primed, not painted. But here's the problem. This last, whatever you call this, I'm not even sure. It's round, so it fits in just perfectly. The new one, of course, is not round. It's rectangular at the end. And is just not enough room to fit. So not really sure how I'm going to remedy that. So yeah, here's the old doorknob. All the cabinet handles and everything in the camper are this color gold. I tried spray painting them before. It just doesn't stick well to it. Anyway, I think the new doorknobs would look a lot better. But like I said, just this piece here is the problem. It just doesn't want to properly fit. But we'll see. I might be able to notch this out with a jigsaw so that it just fits. Also, I should mention that I was going to try and just use this with the new doorknob, but of course everything has to be different. So this here is square, which fits this, and is not going to fit this. You know, and the old one is round, which fits that, and not this. So, yeah. Okay, total hack job. But I'm just trying to make sure that it's going to fit before I paint it. I don't have it screwed on, but we have a doorknob that is going to work. Just received an Amazon delivery. I ordered a new light for here. I'm going to replace the one that I have. This one's huge. It's like double the size of the other one. And it's got 2 sides, not just one. So I'm hoping that's going to make a difference. So I'm going to start by removing the ceiling light. It's weird that they don't have 2 different colored wires here. They're both white, so I'm just maybe actually going to have to read the instructions and see what the deal is with that. But yeah. Once I get this light removed, I am going to have to put new holes in the ceiling because it's just not going to line up with the new light. These ones. Oh, gross. Look at all the black. I don't know if that's soot or dirt or what. And look at all the stuff from the ceiling that fell out onto this light. Not an electrician, don't know what I'm doing, but those are like soldered on there, so I just cut them and we'll go from there. Okay, so apparently with these white wires, there is no positive and negative. I don't know, I guess it's some weird universal thing. I just loosely put this together, just wrap some electrical tape around it loosely. I'm going to do it better in a second. Just want to make sure it's going to work. There's 1 light. There's another option for 2. Trying to do it one-handed. There we go. There's 2 lights. It's going to come out looking really weird with this camera, but there you go. Yeah, that's a hell of a lot brighter than it was. I'm not an electrician either, so if you're going to do this, you should probably maybe cut the power to your batteries. I didn't do that, but I just was extra careful to make sure that the wires didn't touch. You don't want sparks. Sparks are not good. Next up, I'm going to spray the sink with some of this Rust-Oleum. It's not bright white. It's not bright white like that, but it's this heirloom, where does it say? Satin heirloom white. It's kind of like an off-white. It's pretty close in color to what's already there. It's just going to clean it up a bit more. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and just give this a really light sanding before I clean it. Okay, well, 20 minutes later, hopefully this area is protected enough to go ahead and spray paint the sink. Really just looking to clean up the sink. I know that it's not going to be like as white as this because it is a different color white. And I am okay with that. I don't need it to be completely matching. I just honestly wanted to clean it up a bit and just make it look a little more fresh. I should reiterate as well, this is paint and primer, and it is fine on plastic. It says right here, also bonds to plastic. Okay, sink is done. Next on the list is the floor tiles. Kind of match the blue, eh? Hopefully it's gonna look good. Most difficult part of this, I still have the backing on these 2 pieces, but the most difficult part is going to be working around this plug from the old RV toilet. So I'm just kind of like lining it up and pre-cutting a couple pieces to make sure that it's going to work around this plug. It's coming along. It's harder than it looks, believe it or not. I did mess up with this here tile. It is offset. It's not matching with the pattern, but I am okay with that because my toilet is going to be over this whole area and you're not going to see this at all. Also, the corners here in the back, they're a little bit gappy, but I'm not worried about that. That'll be covered too. Also, I'm not saying that you should do this, but I didn't measure anything. I'm just kind of like, yeah. Anyway, really you should, you know, measure twice, cut once, blah, 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 but I'm just going with it. I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of cutting every time until the cut comes out right, or in this case, not quite right. Again, this will be covered, and yeah, I'm not worried about it. The edges here, this is my least favorite part because I have to cut in this really weird, so yeah, so that'll be fun. Okay, floor tiles are done. Is it a little flawed? Yes. But you're not going to see that part because it's going to be under the toilet. So, yeah. Not too bad. Matches the blue on the cabinets and looks better than it did. That might be a little better lighting, but yeah, not bad for not even taking out the measuring tape. I mean, kind of impressed myself. I was using this metal shim that I had removed as a ruler. All because I was too lazy to dig out the measuring tape. Okay, day 5, I'm embarrassed to say, and today the plan is to get the second and hopefully final coat on in the shower and bathtub. Obviously I had to put like an old paint sheet down because I've got the new floor under here and I didn't want to drip any of that oil paint on it because there's no getting that off. So, oh yeah, I've got to do another coat here. The panel for this area I have set somewhere else and it's already painted and ready to go, but obviously I need to paint this and let that dry before I overlay it. Least favorite part, trying to paint inside this little shelving unit. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell with this lighting, it's not the best, but I'm all cut in. So now I've got to get to rolling the second coat. Okay, so I did the roller, covered every area that I could, and it looks pretty good. I looked it all over, touched up a few spots. I'm not a perfectionist, so I think that's going to be good enough for me. Yeah, honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. So now I'm going to pack this all up and go finish doing the door. Got the sink faucet on. I don't have it hooked up to the water lines yet. That's actually really difficult to do. I will do that off camera sometime, but this is what it looks like. I did put some backsplash here last night. I know what you're thinking. Jenna, why are you dealing with backsplash? It never works out for you. Well, you're right, it usually doesn't. However, this is the stuff that I did last try behind the stove. And it didn't work out behind the stove, but I got to thinking that could have been just because of, you know, the heat and everything from that. Also, if you remember, I sprayed the back of this with adhesive before I put it behind the stove. And I didn't let it, like, kind of get tacky or anything, which I probably should have done. So, anyway, I put this on last night. I had nothing to lose. I just had it. I threw it up there. It actually looks really good. And nothing was peeled back this morning. I think when I first put it behind the stove, it started kind of peeling off already the next morning. Hopefully it works out for me and it stays stuck to the wall. I'm excited if it does because, you know, brushing your teeth in the sink and getting splash back up on here, this is just going to be easier to clean the wall back here. I ended up running into another problem. I was putting the shower head back on the tankless water heater and I installed this and then realized I installed it upside down and I have to flip it around again anyway. But anyhow, I stood in the shower to install this thing upside down, and when I stood in here, you guys may or may not remember, but I think I mentioned to you before that I ended up getting a crack in the tub here along this seam. Not sure if you can see it, but I ended up putting a clear line of silicone over that crack so that it wasn't going to leak, and it worked. You know, I just put a clear bead, smoothed it out. The problem was, and I thought that this could be a problem, I primed and painted over that clear silicone, and I kind of worried about that. But if you can see, when you put pressure here, the paint cracked because obviously the paint would have dried here, and then when you put pressure and it needs to move, it's cracking. So if I peel this back, I can see the yellow tub underneath of it. I worried about that, and now that I know it's a problem, I can't exactly paint over it again because the problem's just going to keep happening. So what I think I might end up doing is putting another strip of silicone over top of the paint and letting it dry. That way it's covering up these cracks that are here. Sorry, my camera keeps going blurry. Probably didn't help that one day I dropped it off the roof. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm just going to try to put a clear strip of silicone over the paint where it's separated there and hope that that remedies the problem. Doesn't make sense to paint over it, it's just going to keep cracking. So I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, I got the panel put back on here. I have it lifted off the floor a little bit more so that if any water goes here in this corner, it's not going to hit the wood at all and cause any mold like it did with the last panel. Other than my new issue with that, the shower's pretty much done. I just have to finish putting all the hardware in. Have to run a line from the faucet to this unit here, and there is some hardware I have to install along this wall just to keep that line over against that wall out of the way. And off camera, I did manage to get my water lines under this faucet, hooked all up. It was really hard to get under there. There's just no room underneath of there. Zero room at all for wrenches, so I just tightened it by hand as much as I could get it, and when I de-winterize, I'll just have to see how it goes, hope that there's no leaks. Floor is working out pretty good, minus my few little mistakes with not measuring over here. Like I said, the toilet's going to be here, trash can here. This is all going to be covered, so I'm not worried about this gap here along this edge. But I'm impressed with how well they stuck to the floor. Keep in mind, I laid this floor and started doing this project as a whole in March, late March. So the fact that the floor was freezing cold and these still stuck impresses me. We'll see how it goes in the summer with high humidity. Got the door painted. Gonna be putting this lengthwise mirror on the door, hopefully with some alien tape if it sticks. But I went ahead and painted it with some leftover marine paint that I had. I mean, I had it, why not? Oil paint is a pain, but it's done. Yeah, and next just to get the doorknob put on and installed in the doorway of the bathroom. Okay, first problem. This is not flush against the door enough that it's going to close. Didn't realize I was going to have to take the entire doorknob off to do this, but I had a brain fart. Well, all of that to find out that this piece does not come off. I thought it did. It's literally stuck on there, so I have to use this piece. Alright, well, pinpointing problems is fun, because even without the doorknob, it's not going to close. It's touching here. Anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and tape the back of this mirror. Hopefully it'll stick to this cardboard. Is it weird that this is my first time using alien tape? Because it is. The mirror is on the door. Hopefully it stays. I'm hoping I found a solution to my cracked paint issue here. I found some of this kicking around. I used it for, actually this might even be the stuff that I used for the crack in the first place, because it is 100% waterproof. It's safe on fiberglass, wood, metal, glass, and plastic. No idea if this is gonna work. Just gonna go ahead and give it a try. Change of plans with the door. You can see I have it taken off. It will not close, so I actually have to go, what am I trying to say here? I basically have to get, alright, it's coming on dark. I'm having a hell of a time with this door. I had to take it somewhere and get a table saw to slice so many millimeters or whatever off of here, just so that I can shut it. And as you can see, it's still covered in sawdust. I've got to clean all that off. Of course, I went and put the mirror on earlier, so that's full of sawdust now, but I didn't want to take it off because I just put fresh alien tape on it. Didn't know what it was going to do if I tried to rip it off, so I left it on there. And then when all that was said and done, it wasn't lined up properly, so the door latch wasn't quite reaching here. And I had to drill this down just a little bit and then take a knife and whittle away at this plastic a little bit. And now it actually closes. So I'm going to go ahead and get this doorknob on. Running out of daylight, the door knob is on. Let's see if it closes. You guys still with me in there? It's been a long one, I know. We are officially done with this bathroom project, minus the fact that I have to do some touch-ups on the door. It is what it is, but you know, all the big stuff is done. It did take me 6 days of working on this. I was working on the bathroom on my days off from my job, so actually it probably took me a good 2 weeks or more to do this. But I'm glad that it's done, because at this point I'm over it. And I have come to the conclusion that late March in Canada is a really bad time to paint. So that's part of what took me so long. There's a lot of extra drying time between using a primer and using an oil-based paint. The floors of these campers are not the warmest, so the bottom of the shower is really what took the longest for everything to fully dry, but you know, you live and you learn. So let me go ahead and show you the bathroom makeover. Keep in mind, this is not Instagram and it's not Pinterest. This is a real life RV bathroom. So it's not going to be perfect, and it isn't, trust me. Alright, I've got the toilet and the trash can put back in here. Obviously I didn't paint the walls for this project, but the cabinet here has all been painted. The cabinet down there under the sink has all been painted. I wasn't planning on painting these back walls of the cabinet, but I'm glad I did because I think it looks a lot better. Again, sorry for all the stuff in the shelves, but like I said, real life bathroom. Painted inside the medicine cabinet. Not going to show you in there. You might see my drugs. I'm kidding, I don't do drugs. I drink a little, but everybody's got a vice. I did end up going ahead with the backsplash. Didn't really plan to. So far it's actually working out. Fingers crossed it stays that way. I did paint the sink, made some mistakes here. I sanded the sink, which I didn't need to do. I was just following directions on the paint can, but honestly, I ended up with some deep scratches. Maybe I was just going to town a little too hard, but got the new faucet. This is a plastic RV faucet. This camper is stationary. I probably could have went with like a regular residential one, but I just went with the RV one because I wanted to make absolute certain that it fit. I did the same thing here with the shower faucet. I went with the RV faucet. I wanted to make certain that it was going to fit properly. And I really don't mind the fact that they're plastic. I like the look of them. It kind of looks like nickel or something. If you have a stationary RV, you could probably get away with just putting a residential faucet or faucets in, and it would probably be fine. But like I said, I went with the RV ones. Oh, also went with the brand new light. We've got the one light off, two lights. You get kind of these weird beams on camera, light beams. So obviously you guys know I put a new panel here, painted it up. And the floor. The floor is just flooring that I got off of Amazon. I think it's called like Floor Pops or something. I'm not really sure. I can put a link in the description if you're interested. Really impressed that this floor stuck as cold as it was when I first laid it down. But we'll see what it does in the summertime in the high humidity. Just put a shower curtain in. Going to be dewinterizing in a couple of days. So excited for that. Obviously I have to wait for my silicone now to dry, but... And of course the biggest part of the project, the shower. Yeah, that was a lot of work. Priming, painting, you know, double coat. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It is so much better than the yellow that it was before. So looks pretty good and definitely brightens up the bathroom. Yeah, just have one more piece of hardware to go from the faucet, obviously up to the tankless water heater so that the whole thing works. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, put links to everything that I purchased off Amazon for this little project. In case you have an interest in any of the items. No affiliation with Amazon, just make it easier if you want to, you know, look at any of the items that I purchased. I would do a cost breakdown for you guys, but it's not going to be a true cost breakdown because I did get the primer for free from my aunt. The paint for the cabinets behind me was also free because I just took what my mom had left over from one of her projects. She let me use, you know, the last little bit of one of her cans of paint. So the only paint that I ended up buying for this project was the marine paint. And that was pricey because I had to get a full gallon. They didn't have any of the smaller ones. I will mention to you that the smaller, maybe 1 quart bottles would probably do your shower. I just had to get the larger one because that's what they had, and I also have a plywood boat, so I thought, hey, if I need extra paint, perfect. The paint, by the way, was marine paint, white in color, and it was beauty tone. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it from me here. It was a long one, so I apologize. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little RV bathroom makeover. Hopefully you're all doing well. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I will see you in the next. Bye. Whew, I need a beverage or 5. Cat food? Where the hell are the seltzers?